The question that has been on my mind for almost a year now, and on the mind of the last 5,000 people on Steam still playing Starfield, is where the hell are the updates? The updates that were promised every 6 weeks. Last year Bethesda said we're gonna have a patch every 6 weeks, and they just stopped that after November. They're like, yeah, no, you know what? Let's take a break with it. I'm assuming it's because of Starfield Shattered Space, and we all know what happened with that DLC expansion that was supposed to bring Starfield back to a point where it was functional, where it was fun, the classic Bethesda charm that we come to expect from their RPG titles. It had none of that. It actually had more of the same from Starfield, but even worse. How did you make it worse? But today, they actually did come out and state something, and I'm, you know what, not excited about it, because there's nothing to be excited about out of anything that they've said, but it's fun to poke at them a little bit more because they have to really bring something here for this game to have any sort of redemption. So by responding to someone who is saying that they are still enjoying the game, that they love Starfield to bits, and they want to play the game to the day, but they need to start communicating better on what's happening with the next DLC expansion, the Starfield account responded, "We know you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thank you for being part of this journey with us." Now, I am very happy that they have actually updated players on what's going on with Starfield, and that there's anything going on with Starfield, because again, they did promise an update every 6 weeks. It's been several months now, and since Shattered Space, we've had nothing. I think we had a patch, maybe 2 patches, and now they've just completely abandoned it completely without any post-launch support after Shattered Space, other than the Creation Club content. But that isn't actual patches and content. That is players creating stuff for you, and then you sell it within your Creation Club store. And I've made several videos, talking about all the issues I have with Shattered Space, with Starfield, with Creation Club. One of my most popular videos is calling out the shittery that is involved with the Creation Club and the use of achievements and all that other stuff, so you can go find that on my channel. But the discussion of Starfield is whether, are we getting more updates? Are we getting more content? Are we going to get a good overhaul of the game? Because a lot of Starfield, at least in my opinion, is not up to par with anything to do with like modern RPGs like Baldur's Gate, Cyberpunk, even other games that like Obsidian has created, like the Outer Worlds or like Avowed. So many RPG mechanics that you would expect to be in a game that they trounced around like it's going to be the new coming of age for Bethesda. We're going back to our classic RPG mechanics. You're going to be able to do whatever you want in this sci-fi massive universe, and it was all a lie, because of course it was. It's Todd Howard spewing his bullshit, and we ate it up, and we're probably going to be continuing to eat it up with The Elder Scrolls 6 and with Fallout 5. Bethesda trounced Starfield as the game that we were going to be playing for a decade, a game we were going to be playing until The Elder Scrolls 6, a game that we were going to be playing further than The Elder Scrolls 6. They probably wanted this to be the ultimate single-player live service project, but without the investment of multiplayer live service investment that a lot of other games would usually take, like Marvel Rivals, massive success. But to keep that going, they need to have heavy investment into development, into new content. A particular single-player game that has a Unity system that allows you to just replay the story all the time, just make different choices, doesn't need that. Starfield was built on the idea of a single-player live service project. It was built on the idea that we'd be playing it for a decade to come, something that their previous titles were not planned to be built around. Fallout 4 and Skyrim, extremely replayable. Fallout 3 and New Vegas, extremely replayable. But unlike Starfield, the point of those games were to actually have fun and just create an engaging RPG narrative that we would go back into anyway, with engaging worlds, engaging characters, engaging writing, and just everything that makes a role-playing game fun to play. And yet they butchered that with Starfield. So what I would like to see out of these upcoming updates, naturally what I already know we're going to see. We're going to be seeing a PS5 launch. We've seen that Xbox has been pushing their exclusives to PlayStation 5. Forza Horizon 5 is going to the PlayStation 5. At this point, that's one of their juggernaut titles. They're putting everything on there. Forza's going on there, Starfield's going on there, Halo's going on there, Motorsport's going on there. Every single first-party title will eventually release on the PlayStation 5 console. So I have no doubt their next big update is also going to have a launch for PS5. And obviously they're probably going to be releasing another big story expansion. Hopefully this time it isn't clear-cut content that they took out last second to then sell to us later as story DLC that had no addition to the story whatsoever. It is so clear that the Varun questline from Shattered Space was clear-cut content. It was about the same size as like the Crimson Fleet questline or any of the other questlines in the game. About the same size, but they charged $30-$40 for it. But that is just what we know is going to come out of this next big expansion. Probably a PS5 release date and a new big expansion. Now, what I would love to see is a massive overhaul of this shitty engine. We don't need to move engines. I'm a firm believer that the creation engine is a fine engine if they can modify it correctly. If you can bring it up to even to 2015, bro. Can we get it up to 2015 standards? Can we get it up to what Fallout 4 should have been at, please? We can't be stuck in 2011 or 2008 anymore. You need to get out of that habit of just being fine with your shitty old engine. You need to bring it up to modern standards of engines like Unreal Engine 5. I'm not talking about graphics, I'm talking about ease of use, and I know the creation engine has super ease of use because of its modding capabilities, but you also need to take in consideration Starfield should not have taken 8 years to develop. It is not that big of a game like they made it out to be. It is a procedurally generated massive map with unnecessarily large cities and so many crammed, shitty quest lines shoved into those cities. It is not like this huge experience that was going to be a 10 out of 10. It is a basic 7 or 6 out of 10 experience that was bloated out of proportion. It should not have needed that much time to make. It really should not have. And that was, of course, because Bethesda was updating the engine. Fair enough. You are backed by a nearly $3 trillion corporation. You're one of the studios, you're one of Xbox's A studios. Why can't you get proper investment to actually make sure that your engine isn't a complete shit show? A complete clusterfuck. To this day in 2025, Starfield, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and all of your previous titles, we can find the same exact bugs. You can find bugs from Oblivion in Starfield. That is insane how a 20-year-old game has the same glitches as the 2023 game. That is wild to me. A engine overhaul is the least of your worries. You need to completely redo the entire thing. This isn't we're gonna make animation updates. This is we're gonna rip all the animation tech out and just redo it. And I know some people are gonna say, well, you can't be expecting that out of a single player live, kind of update for Starfield, right? That's a bit too much. That is what we should have gotten at the original launch of Starfield. If they want this game to be as long lasting as they're expecting it, that is not something that they can kind of just go around. It is a requirement. They have to do it because we already know they're gonna be overhauling the engine, more likely than not to the Creation Engine 3 for the Elder Scrolls 6, and I swear to God, I do not need you to rip out all of the loading screens, but that would be highly preferred. If you could find some way to make so many areas that require current loading screens to not require loading screens, your game would literally be bumped up like 2 or 3 points just because of your technological advancements that people were making back in 2015 and even before. We do not need 7 fucking loading screens to go in between ships and buildings. It is so unnecessary. Your technology holds you back, and I'm a firm believer that that is probably Bethesda's biggest problem. Yes, their quest lines can be kind of dull. Yes, the writing in certain scenarios can be poor, but it's the actual technology that they're using as well. It is so outdated, and I'm not saying they should abandon Creation Engine. I'm saying they should overhaul it to the point where it doesn't even look the same. Now, excuse my rant about the engine. What you should do next for this DLC expansion that you're probably going to be releasing is hire some competent writers, not Emil Pagliaro. He is garbage. He has been garbage for a decade, and I am sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. He is an awful writer. He does not know what he's doing. You have consistently had him writing your games since Fallout 4. And other than Fallout 4 Far Harbor, other than the one banger he produced, he has done shitty jobs for the rest of his career. I don't understand how he's the head of writing at Bethesda Game Studios. I genuinely don't. I feel like anybody else, I feel like Todd Howard himself would be a better story writer than Emil. He should not be writing the dialogue. He should not be writing the responses the player can create. He should not be writing at all at that company. At the most, he should be writing like maybe 1 quest line or 2 quest lines. He should not be a head writer at that studio because time and time again, he has failed to produce anything on the quality bar of games that have released 5 to 7 to 10 years before it. Red Dead Redemption 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, so many previous games that have come out before Starfield that you could have, even games that were outer space based, you could have taken inspiration from, like The Outer Worlds, like Mass Effect, like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky arguably could have better story writing, even though that game is not heavy story focused. It has better lore in some certain situations than Starfield. Now, this is the final thing I'm going to complain about. Now, I know you're not going to do it because they are a money-hungry company, even though they're backed now by like a $2 to $3 trillion corporation where they don't even need to do this, but they still decide to do it. The Creation Club. I swear to God, if it's in the, I swear to God, every fan would prefer this be removed, I'm sure, because paying for mods is stupid. if we want to support a modder, more likely than not, I feel like every single fan would agree it would be better if they open some sort of support page where we could directly donate to them, where you would not be creating a store place just to collect money. I would rather donate to a modder on Nexus Mods and just give them like $5 if I'm really enjoying their mod, instead of having to go through your store where you charge 10 and I have to buy $10 of your currency. But no, it's 1,050 currency, and you don't sell currency at 1,050, you sell it at 2,000. So now I gotta spend $20 more instead of it. Like, it's the pricing systems and the entire system of the Creation Engine store needs to be rehashed entirely. I understand ease of use console mods, and I love that, but the player first mentality that you were trying to push for this modding store is not there. Paying for gun mods is wild in 2025 when we can probably find those same mods on Nexus and just play it for free through that. Like, how easy would that be? Instead of having to pay $10 for a gun mod, because you decide, and the modder decides, yes, let's charge 1,000 credits or $10 in that change of currency for a gun in a game that is broken, in a game that is not fun to play at times, in a game with some of the worst writing, with some of the worst loading screen advancements. You did nothing. You advanced everything in Starfield, from animations to combat to graphics, but the one thing you kind of went backwards on was loading screens. How does that happen? How did you go backwards on something when you claimed it was Creation Engine 2.0? So yes, Bethesda is still attempting to actually save Starfield, is still attempting to fix Starfield. Do I personally think they're going to be able to do it? Hell no. I don't think they're going to be able to save the Starfield experience that they wanted to originally create. I don't think that's going to be possible unless they completely overhaul the engine in the game entirely, and that kind of investment probably takes tens or hundreds of millions of dollars to do, and I don't think they're going to find that worth it. I think they're going to pump out one last big expansion, unless the PlayStation 5 sales explode into the not hundreds, but tens of millions of players, and it's just huge success on PlayStation, and they have enough investment to create several more expansions. I don't think this game is going to survive 2025. I highly doubt it would even last into 2026. I'm surprised it's lasting now. I'm surprised they're still developing content for it after Shattered Space and the known flop that DLC was. I apologize for my long rant on this scenario, but I've given you the news on what we're expecting here from Starfield, and I would love to see Bethesda succeed again at saving a game. I'm an avid player of Fallout 76. I believe that they salvaged that shit show from what they originally created. I truly believe that. Even though it's not perfect, it is definitely so much better than it was at launch, and definitely a game I feel like you should go out and buy, at least at like a big discounted price. But Starfield, I hope they can also do what they did with Fallout 76. I'm hoping they can pull a Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky of Fallout 76 with Starfield, but I highly doubt they'll be able to. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, sharing, commenting, subscribing, if you so choose to. Thank you all for watching this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.